Okay, so today we're taking a deep dive into the online world of Christina Trevino.
Mm-hmm.
She's an intuitive and metaphysical practitioner,
Right.
and our main source for this is her website, Soulkeem.
Okay.
It's called Soulkeem, a vertical bar, and then metaphysical and intuitive guidance for transformation.
Lots of keywords in there.
Yeah, definitely.
So it sounds like we're trying to figure out what services she offers and the kind of philosophy behind it all.
Yeah, basically. And from what she's putting out there publicly on the website,
Right.
we'll be looking at, how she describes herself, what people are saying about her in the testimonials,
Hmm.
contact info, the whole nine yards.
Sounds good.
So right off the bat on the homepage, she mentions over 35 years of experience
Yeah.
in intuitive and metaphysical practice.
Wow, that's a pretty long time.
It is, yeah.
What do you think someone should look for when they see that kind of experience advertised? Like, how do you really understand what that means?
I think it's a good question because 35 years does suggest a pretty deep immersion, Yeah. So maybe like thinking about how the whole world of metaphysical practices has changed in that time.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Has she adapted? Does she talk about continuing to learn and evolve her methods based on those years?
Right, because longevity is one thing, but actually growing and changing with the field is another.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
So she states pretty clearly that her main aim is to guide people towards clarity, inner peace, and spiritual growth.
Those are some pretty big goals.
Yeah. It is a pretty powerful statement, even though it's broad. What strikes you about those particular aspirations?
I mean, they're pretty fundamental human desires, right?
Yeah.
Like most people want clarity and inner peace.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of universal when you're thinking about well-being
Absolutely.
and then adding in spiritual growth.
Hmm.
That takes it beyond just the everyday stuff.
Yeah.
It makes it seem like she's addressing some deeper questions about life and meaning,
Absolutely.
not just fixing surface problems.
Totally. And she lists the core ways she works with people: intuitive healing, energy and frequency alignment,
Okay.
and manifestation techniques.
You hear those terms a lot in these circles.
Oh, for sure.
When she says energy and frequency alignment, what kind of stuff are we talking about practically?
Yeah, that's a good question because that can cover a lot of ground in alternative healing.
Right.
It could be anything from like hands-on healing to sound therapy, even guided visualizations to try and shift your vibrational state.
Makes sense.
It would be interesting to see if she gets into more specifics about her methods on the site.
Yeah, like how she actually does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Now, this is where it gets a little less common.
Okay.
She also offers initiation into Belvaspata and high alchemy runes for those who feel called to it.
Whoa, those are some interesting terms.
Yeah, Belvaspata she describes as a form of angelic healing. Can you break that down a little bit?
Sure. So Belvaspata is often seen as a way of healing that comes from the angelic realms. And it uses specific sequences of like light codes or sacred words and sounds. Practitioners often say it has the potential for really deep emotional and physical healing.
Wow.
We don't know exactly how she approaches it from just this mention on the site.
Right.
But if someone was interested, they could look for more information on the lineage or the main principles of Belvaspata as it's taught and practiced.
Good point. Yeah.
Okay.
And then there's the high alchemy runes,
Right.
which she specifically says is for those who feel a calling.
What comes to mind when you hear high alchemy runes?
Well, runes themselves have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
They're associated with divination and understanding energy.
Right.
But putting them in the context of high alchemy, that suggests using them for something much deeper and more transformative,
Okay.
probably focused on personal and spiritual change, like transmutation.
Interesting, because alchemy was traditionally about trying to achieve spiritual enlightenment alongside the whole turning lead into gold thing. So high alchemy runes, it sounds like a pretty powerful system for inner work.
Yeah, definitely. And again, the specifics of her initiations would be something a potential client might want to dig into more.
Makes sense.
She also mentions her spiritual mentor, Almine,
Okay.
who she calls the greatest mystic of our time.
That's high praise.
Yeah, and she talks about how her own journey of exploration has shaped her work. How do you think emphasizing a mentor and personal experience might affect how someone sees her as a practitioner?
I think for people who really value the idea of learning from a spiritual master, it can add a sense of lineage and credibility.
Yeah.
It implies that her knowledge comes from a specific tradition or body of wisdom,
Yeah.
you know.
Makes sense.
But someone who prefers a more individualized approach or something more evidence-based might see it differently.
Right.
The fact that she's endorsing a specific figure so strongly could really resonate with some people, while others might hesitate and think about whether they agree with that figure's teachings.
Yeah, that's a good point. So she gets more specific about the areas where she aims to support people.
Okay.
Emotional balance, spiritual clarity, and a deeper connection to inner truth.
Those seem like pretty fundamental desires for a lot of people.
Yeah, for sure. Why do you think those areas in particular come up so often in this kind of practice?
Well, I think they represent some really core aspects of well-being.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional balance is key to dealing with life's ups and downs.
Yeah.
Spiritual clarity gives you a sense of purpose and direction,
Mm-hmm.
and connecting with your inner truth, it's about authenticity and really understanding yourself.
Absolutely.
And those are often the very things people are looking for when they feel lost, overwhelmed, or disconnected.
Right.
So it makes sense that those are the focus for practices that are all about personal growth and spiritual exploration.
Totally. And it's worth noting that she offers a free 15-minute consultation,
Oh,
which seems pretty standard,
yeah.
but also helpful for people to see if her approach is a good fit for them.
Definitely. It's low risk. They can get a feel for how she communicates, ask some basic questions, and see if they connect before they commit to something long-term.
Exactly.
Okay.
So we have a good overview of how Christina presents herself.
Yes.
Let's move on to the testimonials on her website.
Right.
Social proof can be really insightful.
Oh, for sure. Testimonials give you a sneak peek into what it's like to actually work with her, which can be really persuasive for potential clients.
The first one's from Amber Smith,
Okay.
and she uses some pretty strong language.
Right.
She talks about increased intuitive abilities, the courage to be her authentic self, and magical and sacred experiences
Wow.
that led to a stronger connection with her greater self and more joy. What jumps out at you in this testimonial?
The word she uses, magical, sacred joy.
Yeah.
It seems like she had a really personal and transformative experience.
For sure.
And she mentions being more intuitive and expressing herself authentically, which lines up with what Christina says she helps people with.
Totally.
Testimonials like this often resonate with people who are looking for more than just intellectual understanding. They want to feel a real shift in their being and connect to something bigger than themselves.
Absolutely.
It's powerful stuff.
Then we hear from Christina Smyska, who mentions knowing Christina for over a decade.
Wow, a long time.
Yeah. And she's consistently been impressed by Christina's assertiveness.
Oh.
And she describes the sessions as revealing and profound.
Interesting.
And says Christina has helped her personally multiple times.
I mean, that long-term connection seems pretty significant.
It does, yeah. A relationship that's lasted that long points to a consistent positive impact, at least from Christina Smyska's perspective.
Yeah.
Her saying the sessions are revealing and profound echoes what we saw in Amber's testimonial about deep personal insight and transformation.
Right.
And the fact that she's gone back for more sessions suggests that Christina's guidance has lasting value.
Definitely. I also have a shorter comment from Steve, who thanks Christina for being inspiring.
Okay.
And helping him see the bigger picture when he gets stuck. He also wishes her the best, even though it's brief. What do you think this kind of testimonial tells us?
Even short testimonials can highlight the key ways a practitioner makes a difference.
Yeah.
Steve's comment shows that Christina can offer perspective and inspiration,
Right.
which can be so helpful when you feel overwhelmed or can't see past your immediate problems.
Totally.
It suggests she's supportive and insightful.
Definitely.
Right.
And finally, a guest just congratulates Christina on the new website.
Okay.
While it's not directly about her services, it does show some level of engagement and support from her audience.
Yeah, it shows that she's got people following her work and invested in her online presence, which can create a sense of community around her practice.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Moving on to the practical stuff.
All right.
Her contact email is elm.christina@gmail.com.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, easy to get in touch. Yeah, clear and accessible contact info is essential for anyone offering services online.
Absolutely.
They want people to be able to reach them easily.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
What really caught my eye in the contact section was the quote at the bottom.
Oh, okay. What's that?
All life will change when it knows its source of inspiration.
That's a pretty profound statement.
It is. I think it gives us some insight into her core beliefs.
What do you make of it?
It sounds like she believes that everyone has a fundamental source of inspiration inside them,
Mm.
and that aligning with that source is the key to real transformation.
Interesting.
It ties back to the idea of reconnecting with your truest self,
Right.
and implies that her work is about helping people do that so that their inner inspiration can drive positive change in their lives.
That makes sense, yeah.
The website itself gives credit for the design to Fawn Creative and Mystic Musing AI co-creations.
Oh, interesting. They used AI in the design process.
Yeah, it shows how tech is being used more and more for building an online presence.
Definitely a sign of the times. Artificial intelligence is playing a bigger and bigger role in how content is created and designed.
Absolutely.
Doesn't necessarily tell us anything specific about Christina's practice,
Right.
but it is interesting to see what tools were used to build her platform.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now we need to talk about the disclaimer.
Yeah, those are super important.
Definitely for both the practitioner and anyone thinking about using their services.
Absolutely. A good disclaimer sets clear boundaries, manages expectations, and makes sure people understand what the services are really about.
So the disclaimer clearly states that all the information on the website is for general knowledge only
Okay.
and shouldn't be taken as professional advice.
Right.
Specifically mentioning medical, legal, financial, or psychological fields.
Why is that distinction so important?
It's crucial because Christina's expertise is in intuitive and metaphysical guidance,
Uh-huh.
not in those regulated professions. By saying this outright, she's advising people to seek out qualified professionals for those kinds of issues.
Makes sense.
It prevents misunderstandings about what her services actually cover,
Yeah,
and encourages people to be responsible about their health and well-being.
good point.
It also emphasizes that her services are for personal growth and spiritual development.
Okay.
And this is key, that results may vary and no specific outcomes are guaranteed.
That seems pretty honest and realistic.
It is. It reflects the fact that personal and spiritual growth is subjective.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's journey is different.
Right.
And while a practitioner can offer guidance and support, they can't promise specific results.
Makes sense.
This part of the disclaimer manages expectations and makes it clear that the client's own participation and inner work are essential.
Right. You can't just sit back and expect the practitioner to do everything for you.
Exactly.
You have to put in the effort yourself.
The disclaimer also strongly encourages users to trust their own intuition
Okay.
and to seek professional advice when they need it. And it states very clearly that by using her website and services, people accept full responsibility for their own well-being.
Mm-hmm.
And any decisions they make, this really puts the responsibility on the individual, doesn't it?
It does, and I think that's an important part of ethical practice in this field.
Yeah.
It empowers people to take an active role in their own growth and well-being, instead of just passively relying on the practitioner.
Totally.
It reinforces the idea that intuitive guidance is a support, not a replacement for your own judgment and professional expertise when you need it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And finally, she includes a statement saying she's not liable for any damages or losses that might happen from using her services.
That's a pretty common thing to see in disclaimers for all sorts of services.
Yeah, it's standard legal protection.
Right.
Helps define the boundaries of responsibility and manage potential risks that come with offering any kind of guidance or support.
Definitely makes sense.
So to sum it all up, our deep dive into Christina Trevino's website shows a practitioner with a long history of intuitive and metaphysical work.
Yeah, allegedly 35 years.
Right. She presents herself as a guide towards clarity, peace, and spiritual growth, offering a variety of modalities.
We see a focus on intuitive healing, energy work, and manifestation.
Right.
Along with more specialized things like Belvaspata and high alchemy runes.
Exactly.
And her emphasis on her own journey and her mentor suggests a specific lineage and perspective.
Definitely. The testimonials, while just anecdotal, do give us a glimpse into some positive experiences that clients have reported, especially around things like increased intuition and personal transformation.
Yeah.
But as always, the disclaimer is key, reminding us that these services are for personal and spiritual development.
Right.
And not a replacement for professional medical advice or any other kind of professional advice.
It's a good reminder.
It is. So this brings us to a final thought for you, our listener. As you think about your own path towards clarity and inner peace, what aspects of Christina's online presence resonate with you?
Yeah.
And what other questions would you have if you were considering this kind of guidance for yourself?
That's a great question.
Or maybe think about the balance between seeking external guidance and trusting your own intuition.
Yeah.
What role do you see metaphysical or intuitive practices playing in your own personal journey?
That's definitely something to ponder.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive today.
Absolutely.
We'll see you next time.
See you later.
Bye. Okay, so today we're going deep into the metaphysical world.
Right.
More specifically, looking at the services offered by Christina Trevino.
Sounds good.
We had some really interesting stuff sent in by you, the listener, and it looks like we're going to be covering everything from memberships and even initiations into some pretty in-depth metaphysical practices.
Wow.
Yeah, really, our goal today is to break down what Christina offers and hopefully give you a better sense of what she's all about.
Awesome.
And, maybe even help you figure out what might resonate with you personally.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So Christina presents herself as a very, very qualified practitioner.
Okay.
She's got certifications as a Belvaspata Grandmaster,
Wow.
a High Alchemy Runes Grandmaster,
Interesting.
and is also certified in the Yoga of Illumination.
So quite a range.
Yeah, she even describes herself as an intuitive, an empath, and a tonal sound healer.
Okay.
So it seems like she has a very holistic and integrated approach to working with her clients.
That makes sense.
And actually, there's this really interesting line on our website that I think kind of sets the tone for everything.
What's that?
It says, "All life will change when it knows its source of inspiration."
That's deep.
Yeah, it really sets the stage for everything she offers.
I agree.
So why don't we jump right into it and start by taking a look at her membership plans.
Okay.
It looks like she has quite a few different options.
Yeah, she does. She offers 4 different tiers.
Okay.
A 1 month, 3 month, 6 month, and a whole 1 year plan.
Wow, so people can really commit.
Yeah, and something I found interesting is that all the plans include 2 1-hour sessions per week.
Oh, wow.
So that's 8 sessions total for the 1 month,
Okay.
24 sessions for the 3 month, 48 for the 6 month, and then a whopping 96 sessions if you go for the annual membership.
That's quite a lot.
Yeah, it really is.
So it's good that there are different lengths of commitment.
Yeah, and it seems like the longer you commit, the lower the monthly cost.
That makes sense.
Yeah, they actually mentioned that a single-hour session is $90.
Oh.
So that really helps you see the value you get with these packages.
That's a good point.
Plus, what I think is really cool is that no matter which plan you choose, you get to choose what you focus on during those sessions.
Really?
Yeah, so it's not like you're stuck with one specific thing.
Okay.
You can have intuitive sessions, Belvaspata, angel healing protocols, or even sound healing.
Wow. So you can tailor it to whatever you need.
Exactly. You have a lot of flexibility.
I like that.
Yeah, it's very personalized.
And it looks like each plan includes personal home or business clearings, too.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, me too. It shows that she really cares about the energy of her clients' environments.
Right. It's not just focused on individual sessions.
Exactly. And to add to that, you can even share some of those sessions with a family member.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it makes it more practical and valuable for people who want to involve your loved ones.
So there are some extra benefits for the 6-month and 1-year memberships, right?
Yeah, they include 2 biomagnetic sessions done remotely with someone named Edelverto.
What exactly are those?
Well, the description says that they're meant to help your body with redox and detoxification.
Okay.
And they also balance your pH levels.
Interesting.
And the fact that they're done remotely is really interesting, too.
Yeah, I was going to say, what does that even mean?
It points to a more energetic approach, I guess.
Well, like working with your energy field.
Exactly, even though you're not physically there.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it's something that's still being studied scientifically.
Right.
But a lot of metaphysical practices believe that you can actually influence energy fields from a distance.
Interesting.
And that can impact the body in a lot of subtle ways.
I see.
And then for the 1-year members, there's another option. Instead of 4 regular sessions,
What's that?
they can use those 4 sessions for an initiation.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a great way for people to maybe start thinking about more in-depth training.
Right, like if they're interested in Belvaspata or something.
Yeah. Exactly. It's a nice bridge between the ongoing support and a more focused experience.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, I think it's a really good option.
Okay, so we've covered the memberships pretty well.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the 3-month mentorship program. It's called Unveil Your Inner Compass and Soul's Blueprint.
Ooh, that sounds intense.
Yeah, it seems like a really dedicated journey.
And it's focused on helping people break free from limitations from their past.
Wow, so it's about healing and transformation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a big part of it is personalized intuitive mentoring.
Okay.
And all of that happens over 3 months with 1 2-hour session every week.
So it's a big commitment.
Yeah, 12 sessions in total. It's definitely intense.
So how does she actually guide people through this process of overcoming those limitations?
Well, it involves a lot of exploring the subconscious mind
Okay.
and then uncovering and releasing those deep patterns that are holding you back.
And what kind of patterns are we talking about?
Traumas, limiting beliefs,
Yeah.
energetic blockages, anything that's really at the root of your limitations.
So it's not just about addressing the surface level stuff.
No, it's about going deep and finding the real cause of the problem.
That's really interesting.
Yeah, it's a very different approach.
So what are some of the outcomes people can expect from this?
Well, the main goals are healing and transformation, of course.
Makes sense.
But it also focuses on connecting with your greater self.
I like that.
Yeah, and she really emphasizes giving you the tools for lasting change.
Right, so it's not just a temporary fix.
Exactly. It's about empowering you to continue growing and evolving.
And it looks like you can even renew the mentorship or add more sessions.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So it recognizes that personal growth is an ongoing process.
It's not just a one-time thing.
Exactly.
And it's great that she offers continued support for people who need it.
Okay, so now let's talk about something completely different, property and business clearings.
Okay?
This sounds like it's all about the energy of our physical spaces.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So what kind of things are we clearing out?
Negative or stagnant energy, for one.
Okay.
And also entities.
Entities.
Yeah, sometimes people refer to them as ghosts.
Oh, I see.
Basically, any energetic imprints that might be lingering in a space.
And the goal is to create a more positive atmosphere.
Exactly. It's about making the space feel more harmonious and supportive.
I like that.
Yeah, it can make a big difference.
So what kind of techniques are involved in these clearings?
Well, it seems like she uses a variety of tools.
Like what?
Things like sound light crystals, herbs, and even spiritual practices.
Wow, so it's a pretty comprehensive approach.
Yeah, she really tailors it to each individual space.
And what kind of benefits can people expect from these clearings?
Well, some people report feeling improvements in their physical, emotional, and even mental well-being.
Really?
Yeah, the idea is that a clearer and more positive energy in your surroundings can have a positive impact on you.
That makes sense.
And it can also improve things like creativity and productivity.
Interesting.
Yeah, so it could be really beneficial for businesses too.
So how do these clearings actually work logistically?
So the standard plan includes 2 long-distance clearings.
Within a certain time frame.
Yeah, within 30 days.
Okay.
And that includes an initial assessment and then a follow-up.
Got it.
And the pricing depends on the size of the property.
Okay.
So there are set prices for up to 2,500 square feet,
Okay.
and then another price point for 2,500 to 7,500 square feet.
And what about anything larger than that?
You'd have to contact them for a custom quote.
Okay, makes sense.
And they also have a set price for large land clearings, up to 10 acres.
Interesting.
Yeah, so they really cover a lot of ground.
Now, it mentions that local clients can have an in-person assessment.
Yeah, but it seems like that's not required.
Right. The long-distance clearings are the main focus.
Exactly.
And they actually recommend doing clearings periodically.
Oh, yeah. Why is that?
Well, they say that we're constantly encountering different energies in our daily lives.
Right.
And some of those energies can stick around and affect us or our spaces.
Oh, I see.
So regular clearings help to keep things clean and balanced.
That makes sense.
Plus, they say it can really boost creativity and productivity.
Yeah, especially in a work environment.
And it could even be helpful when selling or renting a property.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay, so let's move on to the initiations and certifications.
Right.
This seems like a way to really dive deep into specific practices.
Definitely.
So the first one is Belvaspata initiations.
Oh, yes.
This is described as a powerful angel healing modality.
Right.
It works with light and frequency to bring out your inner perfection.
It's amazing.
And it was brought forth by someone named Almine.
Yeah, she's pretty well known in these circles.
So think of it as a very specific system for angelic healing.
Okay.
It uses precise light frequencies that are channeled through specific symbols.
Interesting.
And those frequencies can help to shift deep-seated patterns and bring you into greater harmony.
Wow, that's powerful.
And there are different levels of initiation, right?
Yeah, you can start with level 1 and 2,
Okay.
and then later you can pursue master and grandmaster levels.
Because you can really go all the way with it.
You can, and each individual initiation costs $475.
Okay.
But if you decide to do all 4 levels at once,
Yes.
there's a discount, and it's $900.
Oh, that's a good deal.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you can't just jump right into the master levels, right?
No, there's a waiting period
How long?
between 3 and 6 months.
Oh, wow. So you really have to dedicate yourself.
You do. And you have to practice consistently with the first levels.
Okay.
It's really about making sure you've integrated the teachings before moving on.
I see.
And the initiation itself is about 4 hours long,
Okay.
usually spread over 2 days.
That's a decent amount of time.
It is. And you get all the details and prep work through email.
Okay.
Oh, and there's a required book.
What's that?
It's called Belvaspata, Angel Healing Book, Vol. 1, Edition 2. You
Okay.
can get it on Amazon.
All right. You're good to know.
And then you get a digital certificate once you're done.
Perfect.
So that's Belvaspata in a nutshell.
Okay, so next up we have High Alchemy Runes initiations. This one sounds like it involves some specific energetic tools.
Yeah, it does.
It uses 672 rune cards.
Wow, that's a lot.
Yeah, it's from 7 primary libraries of high alchemy.
Okay.
But apparently there are actually 12 libraries in total.
Wow, that's even more.
Yeah, it's a whole system.
So what are these runes used for?
They're meant to be used for self-guidance.
Interesting.
So you can get insights into specific questions or situations you're facing.
I see.
And just like Belvaspata, this was also brought forth by Almine.
Oh, okay.
She's considered a modern mystic and spiritual teacher.
Interesting.
And she's channeled a lot of these teachings.
Oh, that's cool.
Now, these high alchemy runes are a little different from traditional Norse runes.
Okay.
They're a newer system developed within metaphysical alchemy.
I see.
And they're designed to connect you with these very specific energetic library.
You can get a really deep understanding of yourself.
Exactly. And get guidance on a wide range of topics.
That's awesome.
And what about the initiations for this one? Are there different levels too?
Yep. Just like Belvaspata.
Okay.
Each level costs $250.
Right.
And there's a 3-month waiting period before you can go for the Master and Grandmaster levels.
Okay, so that's the same as Belvaspata.
Yeah, it's the same structure.
And how do you get the details for these initiations?
The same way through email.
All right.
Oh, and they also have digital certificates available for this one,
Okay.
but they cost an extra $12.
Okay, so a little bit different than Belvaspata.
Yeah, just a few minor differences.
All right, so the last one we have is the Diva Sattva Yoga of Illumination Facilitator Certification.
Oh, wow, that's a mouthful.
It is, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it does.
This one is for people who are already practicing specific types of yoga,
Okay.
and they want to be able to teach them.
So it's like a teacher training.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
And it focuses on 4 branches of yoga.
Okay, what are they?
Airash Sattva Yoga of Abundance,
Okay.
Shrihat Sattva Yoga of Past Incarnations,
Wow.
Sirdesi Sattva Yoga of Eternal Youth,
Interesting.
and Aranash Subhasattva Yoga of Enlightenment.
A lot of different areas.
Yeah, and these were all brought forth by Almine too.
Of course.
So to get certified, you have to submit videos of yourself teaching these yogas.
Okay.
And Christina reviews them to make sure you're doing it correctly.
So it's a pretty thorough process.
It is, and once you're approved, you get a digital certificate.
Right.
And this certification program was actually created by Christina herself.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's approved by Almine.
That's cool.
And the cost for this one is only $100.
Wow, that's pretty affordable.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, so we've gone through all the initiations and certifications.
Yeah, you have.
Is there anything else?
Yeah, there's just a little bit more information.
Okay.
So it says that 1-hour sessions are available for $90.
Oh, so outside of the memberships.
Exactly. And
Right.
they're going to be offered on another website that's coming soon.
Right.
And just to confirm, all the fees are in US dollars.
Got it.
And there's a donation option if you want to support the website.
Okay, too.
Oh, and there's a special offer right now.
Really? What is it?
It's a 72-hour spring equinox flash sale.
Ooh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, it's 40% off any package.
Wow, that's a great deal.
But you have to use the donate button for payment.
Okay.
And it ends at midnight on March 24th, 2025.
So not too much time left.
Yeah, if you're listening near that date, definitely check it out.
Will do.
Now, just a quick disclaimer.
Yep.
All this information is for general knowledge only.
Right.
It's not professional advice.
Of course.
And you're always responsible for your own well-being and decisions.
Makes sense.
And outcomes from the services may vary.
Yeah, everyone's different.
So to sum it all up, Christina offers a really wide range of services.
Yes, she does.
You've got individual sessions, membership plans for consistent support,
Uh-huh.
a 3-month mentorship for deep transformation,
Yeah.
property and business clearings,
Right.
and then those detailed initiations into specific practices.
She really covers it all.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive.
What really stands out to me is how much variety there is.
Yeah, it's like there's something for everyone.
Right, no matter where you are on your journey.
Exactly. Whether you're looking for ongoing support, a short burst of intensive work, or even formal training in a specific modality, she's got you covered.
And for you, the listener, the takeaway is that there are a lot of different options here.
Yeah, for sure.
So really take some time to reflect on what you need.
Yeah. What resonates with you the most?
And if you're interested in exploring any of this further, definitely check out the Spring Equinox Flash Sale.
It's a great opportunity.
So I think this leads to an interesting question for you, the listener.
What's that?
Considering the detailed structure of these membership plans
Okay.
and the focus on energetic well-being that runs through all of these services,
Yeah.
what aspects of your own personal growth or your environment do you feel would benefit the most from this kind of dedicated exploration?
That's a good question.
Yeah, really think about what calls to you the most.
And what you're most curious about.